Yo everybody, how you doing? I'm a music nerd here, back with another tier list video. I know it's been a while, but wanted to go over Champagne Poppy. That's right, you know him, you love him. The sixth god himself, Drake, ranking some of his best and his worst albums, in my opinion, in a tier list. Before we get into it, if you enjoy this content, please show your support. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button down below. And if you're a return subscriber, hit the notification bell to be alerted for new content. So let's talk about So Far Gone, his first mixtape, or maybe his first mainstream mixtape. And this was kind of the last of that mixtape era, and especially in the 2000s when I grew up, with Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, Rick Ross, they kind of established their names through these mixtapes. And although Drake had a couple of mixtapes like Comeback Season, but So Far Gone was really the one that blew him up, that everybody knew about. Songs like Best I Ever Had, Successful, which is still one of my favorite Drake tracks, Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. Like, all these recurring themes that you would hear in Drake's music that would carry on for the rest of his career. And what I like about this mixtape is that Drake shows his charisma. He really came off as sort of like a young Jay-Z in this mixtape, and although he hasn't really found his sound yet, you can tell that he was very much influenced by Cudi. He was very much influenced by 808s and Heartbreak, and he attempted to capture a certain vibe here, and really establish the traits that we all know and love from him. Now there are maybe a couple of duds here, but for the most part, I think it's a very enjoyable listen. This was kind of the mixtape that changed mixtapes forever, because soon after you had Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Big Sean come up with mixtapes, and that would set them up for their major label debuts. So Far Gone, although it's been a while since I returned to it, I think it's solid. I'm going to put it in the B tier. Alright, next one, Thank Me Later, which is his first studio album, I believe. Came out in 2010, man. I'm getting old. For the most part, Thank Me Later was very much Drake in transitional period. He was still trying to take what worked on So Far Gone and add it with bigger production, more features. But it did kind of sound uneven. It didn't really sound an artist that was confident in himself. He was just trying different sounds. Although, some of these songs were bangers like Over and Fancy and, Find Your Love. Kanye produced some of the songs in this album. But it didn't sound cohesive. It didn't sound like Drake really wanted to do some of these songs. I mean, go back to the opener of Fireworks. I mean, you have a song called Fireworks, and then you have fucking fireworks in the... Just like, what? Why? Why are we doing this? So, yeah, there were some ideas that were kind of half-baked. But, like I said, the songs that really work here are still bangers. Although some of the production is kind of dated. I think that, Drake was trying to set himself up for the next project. And of course, it was very successful. Debuted at #1, which would be a trend for the rest of Drake's career. But, Drake was just kind of like, all right, let me just put myself, make an album, and then if it's good, then maybe I have some creative freedom for the next project to do what I really want to do. But it's an album that I haven't really gone back too much. Not really an album for me. So, to be honest, I'm going to put it in the D tier. Next one, Take Care, which came out a year later. And I remember this was very anticipated. Drake put out a few singles like Headlines and Make Me Proud featuring Nicki Minaj, and I think Take Care is about as close to a cohesive project that Drake has ever made. I think Drake kind of utilizing the Weeknd sound was a very smart move, because the Weeknd captured. Now we're talking about early Weekend. We're talking about House of Balloons Weekend, not like pop megastar Weekend. Like Weekend had a certain vibe and a sound that was very different, and Drake did a very good job of utilizing that sound. Now some people are gonna say, "Oh, well, he bited the Weekend sound," whatever. You can say what you want in the comment section, but um, at the time when Drake and The Weeknd were working together, I really do think that Drake captured a sound and a vibe that was very atmospheric, very gloomy, but also very, you know, pensive. And, when you listen to some of these songs, it's some of the most personal that Drake has ever gotten. Look What You Done. It's still a very powerful song, utilizing that, I think, static major kind of piano loop. Just love. It's very like, it reminds me of like being in a jazz club, late hours. It's a very beautiful song. Songs like Camera, Good Girls Go. Of course, you have the title track, which is amazing, with Rihanna with the drums in the background. And then you also have your bangers here, like Lord Knows and Underground King and Make Me Proud, which I still bump to this day. I think in my opinion, it's Drake's best project. It really was when Drake was really trying to put out an album and not just a bunch of singles and with a bunch of filler in it. It really seemed like, okay, I'm really putting in thought to what I want, because Drake didn't really like the reception and the production of the last album, so he really was like, you know what, this is truly my first album. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm made of, and of course, won Best Rap Album on the Grammy, so it got awards. So I think this is a very solid project. Gonna put it in the A tier, not quite S tier, because I do think there are a couple of songs that are kind of like not that good. I mean, Hell Yeah, Fucking Right. I mean, it sounds very dated. But for the most part, Drake sticks to his guns and creates a memorable project. Alright, next one. Nothing Was the Same. So I'm going to be as fair as I can to this project, because I remember when this came out and I did not like it. I just thought that it was one of the most boring rap albums I'd ever heard. And really, there are a bunch of Drake fans who really think that this is his best album. And I just can't get on that boat. I mean, for me, there are some songs that I just forget. I mean, songs like Own It and 305 in My City, they're just so boring. I mean, God, man, like, and with the whole distorted thing and the woozy production, I just, like, I don't get it. Maybe you have to be high to listen to these songs, but I just, it never grabbed my attention. Songs like Wu-Tang Forever are just so boring. Start from the bottom, so boring, man. Just like so mid. But songs like Hold On, We're Going Home was one of the few Drake R&B songs that I have liked. And of course, that was like the biggest single that comes from this album. Worst Behavior has a different type of production, very Houston trap inspired, but I think Drake's charisma makes it work. Tuscan Letter is a favorite of many Drake fans. I think probably my favorite Drake opener ever. Even Paris Morton Music, I think is a great song. Even though Jay-Z's verse was not that great, cake, 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 gonna show him a carrot cake, clown cake. I don't get Jay-Z's fascination with cakes, but leave that off the album. But I think Drake coming in at the end of the track, really, as Drake does, very, very Drake thing to do, have a closer that is very like, catching fans up on his life and setting them up for what's gonna happen next. I thought it was very done here. So I'm split on this album. I like some of the tracks. I hate some of the tracks. So I have to put it in the C tier. I don't quite understand people's fascination with this album. To me, it's just a very average Drake album. Our next one, If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. Now, this was a surprise project, very much in the vein of Beyonce, and came out Valentine's Day 2015, at midnight, I believe, and this was and it still is one of my favorite Drake projects. Um, to me, I always love Drake more when he raps more than he sings, and I think on this project, this was about as close to a Drake rap album that we're gonna get. Songs like 10 Bands, Know Yourself, Energy, uh, Legend. You know, I just think that this is just a very great crafted project. You even have the Drake diss track here, going at Tyga. Um, there are a couple songs here that I think were pretty bad. Preach featuring Party Next Door. Just don't understand why Drake and Party Next Door can make a cohesive, memorable song. I just don't understand. And Jungle, which was pretty bad, which is typical Drake crooning. I just don't like it. But other than that, I really quite enjoyed the rest of the songs on this mixtape. Really wish that Drake could create more projects like this. Just Drake just not caring. I mean, there weren't a lot of hits on this project if I remember. And I think Drake just really going in the booth, showing why he is a very charismatic rap superstar that he is, and just crafting a great project for people to enjoy. So if you're reading This Is Too Late, I think is a fantastic project. Gonna put this in the A tier. Alright, next one, Views. And listen, this is Views is one of those projects, like I said, very anticipated. Everybody thought, he was hyping this up for years. Views from the City, talking about this is going to be his tribute to Toronto. You got the album cover, him singing alone in the CN Tower. It was probably one of the most anticipated albums of the decade. And I remember when it came out, and I was pressing play. I'm like, all right, man, this is going to be an 8-minute album. This is going to be a masterpiece. And I was very let down. Just did not like many of the tracks on this album. 5 years later, Views is looking not quite like the classic that Drake thought it would be. Although some Drake fans would think it's a classic. I disagree. But compared to some of his recent projects, I mean, Views is looking a lot better in my eyes. I think this is when the decline started. Views, of course, was very successful, and One Dance was the summer song that year. But, Drake trying dance hall, trying different genres. So I respect the fact that, he was doing something different. It didn't always work, but songs like Controlla, songs like Pop Style, Too Good with Rihanna, I think is a very solid song. They worked. But for me, this is playing to a trend of what I don't like about Drake. These albums are too long. And to hear 80 minutes of Drake, for me, I just get worn out very easily. So if he kind of compacted this into like maybe a 10 to 12 song thing, I think it would have been a better album. But to also add Hotline Bling, which came out months later, to try to get more sales in this album, it's just very shameless. Although I like Hotline Bling, it's just like, it just has nothing to do with this album at all. And I just see right through the cap. I know that you're trying to, this trend of like making these 20-song, 25-song albums to just get streams, I just hate it. Let this project stand on its, I don't know why I just started like a southern a southern boy stand. Just let this project stand on its artistic merit. Don't worry about the streams. You're Drake. The streams are gonna come. So I'm gonna put this in the C tier, because if we're comparing it to other projects, it is a bit better than his later projects. All right, next one, More Life, which is considered a playlist. Which, no, if you're charging money, it's not a playlist. It's an actual project. And although, you know, I do like some of the phrase in the UK rap. I know a lot of people, it was controversial with a lot of Drake fans. They did not like grime. For me, I like grime music. But for me, it was not cohesive. I know it's a playlist, but come on, dude. I mean, we all know what you're doing here. You're trying to, we know that you weren't trying as much. And so, fearing the reception that you were going to get, you just call it a playlist and just abandon all kind of the critics, kind of dodging the bullets. Come on, man, we know what you're doing here, and it's just not as a project itself. It's just not good. Now, I believe there are some songs here that are are enjoyable, like Free Smoke and KMT, Skepta's Interludes, the best song in this project, Passion Fruit, amazing R&B song. I think one of Drake's best songs of his career. But it's just not enough to me to keep coming back to this project. So to me, it's just a waste of my time. I'm going to put it in the D tier. The next one, Scorpion. And once again, this is a 90-minute project. 90 minutes of hearing Drake whine about Pusha T, and that's the thing too, right? Is that Drake is now getting into the trend of letting these beefs, letting this off music drama seep into this album. It's like, dude, we don't want to hear this every other song, and it's affecting the quality of his music. Like, yeah, we know rappers talk about their enemies, but just him just talking about Pusha T, and yeah, I know he subbed him or whatever, but it's just like, you gotta let it go, man. You gotta let it go, and it's affecting the music here. For me, it was hard to get through this album. It was just hard. Nice for What, God's Plan. I mean, I don't even count it as part of the album because it was released so far before that, it just doesn't even count into the theme of this album, And of course, In My Feelings became a big hit. I never liked that song, the whole Kiki D You Love Me thing. I just don't care. And the concept of having half of it being hip hop, half of it being R&B. Well, he couldn't even stick to that because you had rap songs in the R&B side, you had R&B tracks in the rap side. So it was like he couldn't even fucking, do the whole concept right. So it was obvious that Drake wasn't trying. It just, to me, Scorpion, too long, too boring. Gonna put it in the F tier. Dark Lane demo tapes, another project that was just a waste. We just did not need it. Now, like I said, the When to Say When sampling, I think he was sampling Jay-Z and that track. I mean, it was nice. Chicago Freestyle featuring Giveon was also a good song. But no on Drake trying to sound British. I don't know why he does this. Fabio Foreign, Demons in War. It's just like, why? You're not British. You're not British, man. It just sounds laughable at this point. So once again, yeah, Dark Lane demo tapes. And also, before I put it where I'm gonna put it, I think you know where I'm gonna put it. But 2C Slide, once again, one of the weakest Drake singles of his career. He's just not trying. If you're just gonna put out stuff on a mixtape, I mean, sure, but don't do your fans like this to charge them, make them waste their time with this crap. So I'm gonna put in the F tier, a waste. And now it's come to this, Certified Lover Boy, which came out last Friday, and I should have known from this album cover what the quality of this album I was going to get. Once again, we get another long-ass unnecessarily long Drake project, over 80 minutes. And once again, Drake cannot seem to focus on this concept. Everybody's expecting, alright, certified lover boy, he has the heart on his hair. Alright, he's gonna play this character, kind of like what Tyler did with Igor. Maybe there's gonna be a lot more R&B songs here. Maybe he's gonna feature a lot of R&B artists. Maybe he's gonna talk about love, heartbreak, or maybe he's gonna talk about being a player, or and maybe kind of be like The Weeknd, where he's like a player and he realizes that he needs love in the end. Nope, none of that. Just more songs about how he's the best rapper, how he, he has haters, how he has no friends in the industry, talking about being a lesbian, just all this fucking nonsense that we don't need to hear from Drake. And Drake having all these features, to me, I was listening to this album, I was like, wow, every feature is besting Drake on these songs. I mean, you look at Cudi, you look at Future, Little Baby. I mean, they were rapping like their life depended on it. Like, I'm never gonna get a Drake feature again. Even Jay-Z, Yebba, all these artists. Drake's not even trying on this album. I mean, I don't get. I mean, what's happening? What is going on? Like, Drake had, there's a couple of songs here where I kind of felt his passion a little bit, Champagne Poetry, but the thing is, he's made better songs on previous projects. I mean, look at Champagne Poetry. I feel, to me, it's like a poor man's Tuscan Leather. Way Too Sexy, which is god-awful. Sampling, the White Said Fred song. Never Again. Don't ever do that again. But how many Drake and Future collabs were better than this one? Even last year's Drake and Future's collab is better than this. It was horrible. No, and Young Thug was just like, he just slatted on there in the end for no reason. What is it? The Remorse. The typical, diary Drake, this is my life closing song. He's done that in better songs like Do Not Disturb and Views and in the past. I mean, so to me, it's just Drake just copying himself. It's just like no new ideas, and like I said with Views, although I didn't like it, and I still kind of don't like it, at least he was trying to stick to a theme. What is the theme here? Aside from a couple other, like, he has like a little like Girls Like Girls and fucking fans, his getting that toxic masculine shit. But what does No Friends in the Industry have to do on an album called Certified Lover Boy? Tell me. What the fuck does that have to do with being a lover boy? I mean, like I said, stop with all the fucking drama and all of the, I hate my enemies. Drake is just, to me, I mean, listen, there's going to be Drake fans that love whatever he puts out, but it's obvious that Drake is distracted. I don't know if he needs to take a break or he needs to do some therapy or something, but he's distracted as a motherfucker, and I don't see myself going back other than a couple of tracks to this album. So for me, although it's better than Scorpion, I'm going to put in the D tier. So that is it. That's my Drake tier list. Tell me what you think in the comments section. If you're a Drake fan, which Drake projects are your favorites, which are some of your least favorites. They'll come back with more videos, so stay tuned. YouTube recommends these two videos. Check out this one. Love you guys. Until next time, peace.